Today let's check if we're streaming. Will be a video about um, my theory of what universe is, how it works, why black holes exist, why gravity exists. So let's straight on cut onto it. So, my idea. First, let me give you the examples of the ideas of other people that it's expanding. But I ask you a question. If the universe is expanding, it's expanding where? You know, to go from city A to city B, you need to have both cities. To go from city A to city B, from point A to point B. But the universe, because it's called the universe, which is literally translated as everything, I believe, it's the whole map. So you cannot go inside of this map to something that is not there. That to something that is not there. I hope you understood. To go from point A to point B, you need point B being right there, that you don't know where it is. So they are telling us the universe is expanding. Okay, maybe that's a 20th century term that it's expanding, but the same thing, I agree, yes, it does expand. It is expanding. But if the universe is everything, wouldn't it be easier to make an analogy of just its parts getting smaller? For example, let me give you a childish cartoon stream example. The train travels from point A to point B. It travels, but the same concept could be described as the train getting smaller or bigger in relativeness to the city. I hope you understand that. Just getting smaller or bigger. So, what is happening in the universe? Let's, for the love of God, consider my theory that the universe is a box that is not expanding everywhere, but its parts are getting smaller. Its parts are getting smaller. Galaxies, planets, stars are getting smaller. It is the same idea that the universe is expanding. But if we call universe the everything, everything cannot expand to, I don't know how to call it, to nonsense. It is everything. So, I propose my idea. I'm not saying it's right, but I propose this. Its parts are getting smaller. That way, the distance between them expands because they're getting smaller. And you know what this process is called? The same as turning water into ice. Turning water into ice. Freezing it. Freezing it. It's called crystallization. It's called crystallization. Crystallizing. Crystallizing. Uh, if you ever crystallized water into ice, you noticed that there appear bubbles. Why do there appear? Not because there's air inside of water. No, not because you breathed or anything into water. No, not because of that. Because they're going apart and they create bubbles. The molecules create bubbles. That's why in the ice from the fridge you get bubbles because the water around crystallized. So we know that there is a lot of black holes in our galaxies. I propose that black holes are the bubbles in the crystallized water of the universe. Idea number one. Second, it would explain gravity. Maybe even more important than black holes. Gravity. Water could be stirred all around, splashed around, drank, anything else. But ice is a solid structure with, as we would say, a lot of force of gravity. Not maybe gravity, but attraction. So that would also explain gravity. After the Big Bang, you know, the Big Bang, when the universe appeared, it had chaos and started, as other people say, expanding. And probably the gravity, I don't know for sure, but after it started cooling down, when something expands, like in the fridge, you know, you pump the air out and the fridge works because you take away its energy. So it would also explain gravity. After cooling down and expanding, as they say, it would create gravity. That's why, for example, we have gravity on every planet. Earth, Moon, everywhere. Um, then maybe the last thing to mention is my theory of how universe works. Uh, there was a big bang, you know. First of all, this term was a joke. The person who invented the phrase Big Bang was joking, actually, because he didn't believe in it. But then it stuck. Then it stuck and it got used. The Big Bang. So the Big Bang everything starts expanding, losing energy. In my opinion, it could lose energy by expanding to zero, zilch, or null. What would happen after that? After everything loses energy to null, there would be another Big Bang. In my opinion, I'm not fully sure, but um, if there was energy and it reached the level of zero, it would explode somehow. I'm not a mathematician and not fully sure, but it would explode back, and on some level that people now even don't understand, there would be a new Big Bang. And after that, this process repeats itself all over again. Exploding, as other people say, expanding, as I say, cooling down, then new Big Bang. Let me also give you a final example how to consider expansion as freezing. In the refrigerators, they use this expansion to cool your milk and products down. They take a syringe and they expand it all over out to create vacuum. That's how refrigerators work. And it cools down the products that you have, because vacuum is cool and cold. So they're saying the universe is expanding, but let's start with the Big Bang. Let's not consider the universe expanding from the Big Bang. It's the same thing. It's really, if you think that I don't believe that universe is expanding, you're wrong. I know it's expanding, but let's look at it in a relativistic term. Relativistic. Imagine universe is just a box. So instead of expanding out of the box, we would change our minds and think of it as, let's see. It appeared. It was very hot. It was very hot, 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 hot. Then, instead of expanding, we explain to it as cooling down. And we know that universe is expanding because of the red shift. But you could also explain red shift from the other stars by cooling down, of parts getting smaller and more crystallized. So it appeared, it was hot, then it started cooling down, 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 crystallizing energy going inside of the atoms, creating something like uranium 238, quite dense material, getting denser, 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 more dense, more dense. And after that, after it created gravity, and also on the byway black holes, it's cooling down to zero, but the energy is still there because it was created in the first place. So then comes a new big bang, and the whole history repeats itself all over again. I hope I put it clear. Um, it's If you didn't understand, it's the same idea of expanding universe, just explained in different words. Instead of thinking that a train goes out from the city, you could think as of city and the train becoming smaller. It's the same thing, just looked from a different perspective, this point of view. Okay, that's my idea. Hope I put it clear and didn't lead anyone in misconception. Thank you. Goodbye. As always, live long and prosper.